It's 5:30 p.m. and I will call to order the April 15, 2019 meeting of the MISD Board of Trustees. I'd like to welcome everyone for coming. We will begin with a moment of silence and a pledge to the U.S. flag and Texas flag, but before that, I'd like to introduce to everyone the student who will lead us in those pledges following the moment of silence. His name is Nicholas Venters. He's a Lee High School sophomore. He has a 3.2 GPA, which includes pre-AP courses in chemistry and history. His future plans are to attend the Air Force Academy. Among his awards and commendations include Spartan Squadron Commander, who is responsible for leading both freshman classes, Commander, Junior ROTC Marksmanship and Archery Team, Commandant's Award given to the student who displays characteristics of an effective leader. His extracurricular involvements include the Lee Rebel Marching Band, ensemble percussion. How others describe him, quote, Cadet Venters exhibits every day what it takes to be a leader. He is organized and a great communicator. As a direct result of his leadership, our logistics for our unit was rated with a perfect rating by the inspector during our higher headquarters evaluation. That's from Chief Jeffrey Dinzer. So Cadet Venters will lead us after the moment's silence. If you'll please join me now. Thank you. Cadet Venters.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, our Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Cadet Venters. We wish you the very best with the rest of your academic career. Thank you for doing this for us tonight. All right, agenda item number 2. Presentations, recognitions, and awards announcements. Pioneer Natural Resources. Ms. Owen, welcome and happy birthday.
I'm always with you guys at my birthday. I remember it. Do you remember when we were at, it was the Texas Scholars, and I made you all toast me, and I took a selfie of you.
That's right. That's right.
I'm Jamie Owen. I'm the director of the Education Foundation. Mr. Davis, thank you once again for having me. Board, Mr. Riddick, Mr. Powell. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's a pleasure to be here with Susan Spradlin, VP of Pioneer here in Midland. From 2010 until today, Pioneer Natural Resources has donated over $2.82 million to the Education Foundation for Midland ISD for programs like Early College High School, Math and Science Calculators and Computers, Teacher Employment and Retention Program, Presenting Concert Sponsor, Shining Stars Academic Recognition Sponsor, Robotics, and always a lot more. A lot of schools reach out individually to Pioneer and they respond. I wish to publicly thank Pioneer Natural Resources for years and years of generous giving and support of Midland ISD. They have been a staple in Midland philanthropy and the leader in transforming Midland. Susan, say a few words.
Welcome, Ms. Spradlin.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here to represent Pioneer. You can't say anything more positive than just thank you and what a wonderful partnership. I believe that we have with the district, and since 2010 when we started with the Early College High School donations, the genesis of that was really at that time really looking to our
Thank you, Ms. Spradlin. Thank you very much. We too very much appreciate Pioneer's partnership with us. There's tremendous investment in early college high school. It's been a tremendous success, and we couldn't have done it without the resources that Pioneer Natural Resources contributed to it. And also thank you, we'd like to thank you personally for your involvement, your leadership of the Chamber and other organizations that have been such a supporter of MISD and really helped us. Thank you very much. All right, agenda item number 3, public forum. We have 2 persons who have signed to speak, to address us tonight. First, I'll call upon Adam McMurray. His topic is community member concern. Mr. McMurray, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Adam McMurray. For the past year, I've been deployed to the Middle East with the USARMY. During this deployment, imagine my surprise when my 14-and-a-half-year-old daughter, who was home from the deployment program, contacted me by text message on October 26, 2018, telling me that the ISD school police were at my apartment. I repeatedly tried to call her, but she was not answering the phone. Later on, I received another text message from her telling me that the ISD police would not allow her to answer or to speak to me. The ISD police interrogated her at the office of my apartment complex. Followed by placing her in the back of a cop car and taking her to Midland Junior High School, where my wife has been employed since October 2017. After being in Abel for several hours, my daughter was finally able to speak to me. After embarrassing her at Abel, which is also where my son is, CPS was eventually called to Abel and quickly confirmed that the child care arrangements that my wife had put in place prior to her business trip to the Middle East. My daughter was released then back to the couple who was left in charge of her. However, throughout the entire ordeal, no one from MISD contacted me or would speak to me about the actions of this day. As a father and a soldier, nothing is more degrading than not being able to protect your family or the people you care about, or for lack of better words, being told that you cannot even have contact with them, like I have no rights to my own children. It was extremely difficult to be so far away in a war zone and know that my child was scared and needing my reassurance in a moment like that, only to have it stripped away by MISD police who are supposed to give people reassurance. Instead, MISD police were the antagonists in this situation. Reasons like this make me question why I serve our country only to have my own life upended by strangers that I serve. In the end, I question what jurisdiction that the MISD officers have to remove my teenage daughter from her home and treat her like a criminal and take her to her mother's place of employment only to have CPS confirm that the entire situation was uncalled for because the children were being supervised by our neighbors and Tracy Craven, a school counselor at Abel, who was also
Mr. McMurray, question. Have you filed a formal grievance regarding this matter? Okay. All right. Well, if it's not resolved to your satisfaction then we'll have a chance to consider that at the appropriate time. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Next, Jade McMurray. Topic, homeschooled student concern. Ms. McMurray, welcome. I take it y'all are related? Okay. All right. Well, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Jade McMurray. I will be 15 years old this Saturday. I have enrolled in K-12 online program since August of 2018. I am not enrolled in MISD anymore. On October 26, 2018, two MISD officers came to my apartment and forced me to go with them to the conference room at our apartment complex. They repeatedly interrogated me about the arrangements that my mother had made for me and my brother while she went to Kuwait to move to school because we were planning to move back overseas to be closer to our dad while he was deployed. The officers refused to let me call either of my parents. They then placed me in the back of their cop car like I had broken the law and took me to Abel Junior High where my mother is employed and my brother attends school. I was so humiliated and embarrassed. After being there for a while, Dr. Shepard finally let me call my dad. However, no one there would speak to Vanessa, Gabe, Tracy, and CPS come to my apartment to confirm everything instead of putting me through the trauma I ate. My mother did not abandon us. She made arrangements with multiple adults to take care of us during her 5-day trip to Kuwait. My brother is still having to deal with unnecessary embarrassment every single day because the teachers and students are repeatedly talking about the situation. His MIC officers openly discussed the situation at ABEL in weeks following. Why did the MIC treat me like the way they did when I did not do anything wrong? Why were they so mean to me? Why did they take me to ABEL where I knew I'd be embarrassed? Why did they not handle everything with confidentiality and professionalism? They would not even let me call either of my parents. CPS was the first one to contact my mom. Not in my therapy because I constantly afraid they were going to come back to my apartment and take me for no reason. I will never trust the police again because I believe they don't want to help people. As a result, I am sure I'll be in therapy for a long time. How will these officers feel if their children were treated the way they treated me and my family? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McMurray. All right, turning now to item number 4, our consent agenda. 4A is our board meeting minutes on page 10 of the meeting packet. 4B is our monthly financials, information on page 18. 4C, budget amendment, page 25. 4D, monthly expenditures, page 28. 4E, monthly investment report, page 45. 4F, cooperative management fee report, page 51. 4G, 2018 annual audit engagement letter, page 54. 4H, personnel appointments, page 63. 4I, compensation adjustment for retired substitutes, page 67. 4J, 2019-2020 food service West Texas food cooperative bid, page 70. 4K, purchase of 5 Ultra Coachline buses, page 75. 4L, contracts over $100,000, page 77. 4M, allotment and TEAC certification for 2019-2020, page 83. 4N, board gifts, page 85. And 4O, volunteers in public schools resolution, page 88. Board members, do any of those consent agenda items need to be pulled for any reason?
Rick, there's just one and it's, I don't know, it's just a minor deal, but my name's on twice on page 10.
Page 10 of the minutes?
Yeah.
All right, we'll pull that and talk about that in just a minute. Any other items need to be pulled for any reason? That item being pulled is 4A.
Rick, I would like to pull 4I from the consent agenda.
4I, compensation for retired substitutes. Compensation adjustment for retired substitutes, all right? Any others?
Mr. Davis, can we pull in?
Okay. All right, 4N. Any others? All right, so pulled from the consent agenda are 4A, 4I, and 4N. All others will be deemed approved by consent. All right, taking them up in alphabetical order. 4A is board meeting minutes beginning on page 10 of the board packet. And Mr. Marquez, what page are you on?
10.
On page 10 itself, all right. And you note that
I'm on
they've
there
got you listing twice.
Yeah, I can't get dual credit for being here.
Okay, all right.
It's a minor typo, but
All right. Okay.
paid twice.
Any other discussion about the minutes? Okay, with that amended, we'll delete his name, the second mention of his name, so it'll only appear once as attending. With that amendment, all in favor of approving the minutes as agenda A item, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. All right, now turning to 4I, compensating adjustment for retired substitutes. That information is on page 67 of the meeting packet. So, Mr. Murray, did you go ahead?
Okay, yes, I would like to have Mr. Bailey come and discuss with us the changes. I'm looking at the substitute amendment MISD rate sheet, and I just wanted some explanation as to what we're looking at and then the total cost to the district for the change.
Yes, sir. This has to do with the change to our substitute management system going from in-district to ESS. And during that process, it became to our attention that we pay into TRS, which is the teacher retirement system. And so for TRS retirees, those that have already retired from the school district, teachers that have served their years and have retired from the school district, then while they were part of the district, they did not have to contribute to TRS. But because we're transitioning to an outside entity, they pay into Social Security. And so some of our substitutes were affected by having to contribute to Social Security, and they're not going to benefit from Social Security. And so in order to try to offset that cost to our retirees, which is a small number, because there were also some that appreciated the change, and it was not going to negatively affect them. And so this was in an effort to ensure that all of our retirees across the board, no one is negatively affected by the Social Security contribution. And so it's a 6.2% offset. And this is something that only one other school district has actually approved for their retirees through all the transition. Midland ISD approved this as well, but in other districts they have not had this issue. So we had a couple of substitutes to come and present their questions in regard to the Social Security contribution. And so this is to offset that 6.2% for all of our TRS only retirees.
So do you have an idea what this cost is to the district?
It's about $6 per retiree. For the next, we have about 25 retired teachers that that sub on a regular basis. We're looking at $6 a day. We have some that are in long-term positions. So the estimate was somewhere around $20,000 total for an entire year. For the rest of the year, it's going to be less than that because we're just starting from maybe 15 to 20.
Is there a way that we work with the contracted group to pay that through us so that we were able to contribute to their TRS, or is that not possible?
So they no longer contribute to TRS. Once they retire from the school district, they no longer contribute. And so there's no way for us to contribute on that. So the issue is they've already retired from the school district. And so this benefits TRS teachers that have already retired, and we wouldn't contribute to TRS. We contribute to, now that they're on the ESS side, they contribute to Social Security. So it's kind of two different.
But they're not going to be eligible for Social Security because they are TRS.
Some of our teachers are not. They never worked outside the school district. They're not eligible for Social Security. And so they are negative. They would never receive those benefits. On our side, we have the FICA alternative plan. That's another savings plan that they also contribute to on our side when they were in the school district. So they could benefit from that, but that was also taxed whenever they would drew from that system.
So I guess the question I would have, the company that we're in contract with, isn't this something they already knew before we even went into contract with to bring this to the table?
Yes, I mean there are some Social Security contributing entities that are outside. I mean just as well as every other other job that you might have on the outside. However, other districts, the retirees were okay with it. They didn't have any type of questions, and so we just want to do this as an opportunity to make sure that we're taking care of our retirees.
No, but what I'm saying is, because I guess we were going kind of into the unknown. Isn't this something, I mean, if they worked with several districts in Texas, it seemed like they would have brought this to the table saying that, okay, now here's something you might want to think about, that you've got some retired teachers that aren't going to be doing Social Security, but this could affect them in the TRS. This is something y'all might want to think about, or this is going to be another added cost.
I don't think that was maybe something that we missed and we were not aware of in that Social Security. Again, some of our retirees that we talked with during the orientation process, they were okay with this, but then there were others that never worked outside of the school district, and so it would have possibly negatively affected.
All right, any other questions? We ready for a vote? All right, on this agenda item, compensation adjustment for retired substitutes. I guess he'll ask for a motion before. Do we have a motion for approval? Motion by Mr. Marquez, second by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. 4N, board gifts, information on page 85. Mr. Trischetti.
Mr. Davis, I just know a lot of work went into this. Mr. Powell and Superintendent Riddick and others. It's a significant gift. It's going to have a really significant impact on not just the schools, but the others as they continue to lay that infrastructure. So I'm on.
Would you like to elaborate? Go ahead and educate those that may not be familiar with it.
So the Midland County Commissioners gave gifts to a number of entities in the community, the largest one of them being a gift to MISD for broadband infrastructure to get to all of the libraries in all of the campuses, and for the fiber optics as well. And so there was some they needed an Attorney General's opinion, so I know Mr. Powell's been involved with the county attorney to make sure that we dotted those T's and crossed those I's, but I think that that's done, and so I just wanted to make sure that the appropriate recognition was given for all the hard work. That is a pretty significant gift that's going to greatly impact students in Midland.
Yeah, it's a good. Yes, thank you, Mr. Trischetti. The Midland County's grant was $2,069,148. The grant was going to pay for the cost of construction and required hardware to create an operational citywide fiber optic network that will connect all our campuses in the district with fiber optic network. In addition to that, capital cost to lay the line initially, after the line is laid and after we're able to enter into a new contract with concerning the fiber optic, we'll also have a savings, realize a monthly savings of approximately $12,000 a month once this is up and running. So we're very grateful to Midland County and the commissioners and county judge for approving this grant. We very much appreciate it. It'll really do a lot of good both for the district security-wise and also for our libraries, and we thank them very much. All right, motion by Mr. Trischetti. Second by Mr. Murray. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, now turning to our district reports. Academic update on school links. Information on page 90 of our meeting packet. Mr. Horner, welcome.
Just about every student has a PDP either built or in progress. We have some that are in the works of being approved at this point. To really demonstrate what this is capable of, I've asked our Director of Guidance and Counseling, Mr.
John Moss to take you through quickly a live demonstration so you can see the student experience.
Mr. Moss, welcome.
Good evening, board members, President Davis, and Mr. Reed. What I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to run through a demonstration for you to show you what schooling looks like to our students. And I am going to do a student demo for you. I'm going to demo as a 6th grade student. And the reason I'm doing that is that's intentional, because I want you to see that what's available for a 6th grade student is also available to every student that uses the School Links platform. Give me just a second here. Since we set this earlier in the evening, it's not allowed us to start at the beginning, so I'm going to go to another school. So I'm going back. So here we are. I'm a 6th grade student. I'm going to start the process. The other day when I was going through this system, my 6th grade student actually got here. I see tonight that's not the case. So we're going to start with the Find Your Path assessment. And if you remember a month or so ago when Mr. Horner was talking to you about the school needs, he talked about the students could swipe right, swipe left. Well, this is the place where that happens. I look at what it says, and if I agree with what it says, I can swipe it to the right. If I disagree, I would swipe to the left, or I can just use the old system of the red X if it doesn't apply to me, and the green arrow if it does apply to me. And so I'll go through the assessment. All of this is part of what we call the onboarding process for our students. And at this point, we're having our 6th graders on board for the most part. If a student comes in, they're new to our district as an 8th grader, then of course they will have to go through this process as well. Once I finish the Find Your Path assessment, I actually am given some celebrity matches. And you can see here that my celebrity matches are Stephen Hawking, Jane Austen, Michelle Obama, and LeBron James. Sometimes it's actors or actresses, but it's the students can get excited about who it is that their celebrity matches are. I'm sure I matched because of my basketball skills. That's why LeBron's there. But so I'm looking at a career cluster, 4 career clusters that come up based on that assessment. And I'm going to choose the education and training cluster just because I have an inkling that that might be the direction that I end up going.
This is a 6th grader making these decisions?
Yes. On the onboarding, and the thing about the 6th graders doing onboarding, they're not doing it alone. Our counselors are walking them through the onboarding process and helping them and talking to them about each of these steps.
Okay, they're not doing it at home.
So they can,
where's the path of not going to college?
I'll show you that.
Okay, it's in there then. Okay, that's good.
So I'm going to go from the dashboard. I have these 4 tabs. I'm going to go to the career tab. And that career tab basically has the 16 career clusters. I'm looking here and I see education and training, so I'm going to choose that. Then scroll down here, I see early childhood and educational education. I'll choose that. And then I get a overview of salaries, job growth, those kinds of things in this graph. Go back to the dashboard. I'm going to go to and navigate through the college choice tab. And at the college tab choice, in this instance, college tab has colleges that are located in Texas. But I have filters up here, and I can filter for the colleges on the West Coast, colleges on the East Coast, specific colleges that I'm looking for. And so I'm going to, I've really heard a lot of good things about the University of Texas. I'm going to make that one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
When I look at the University of Texas, it's going to give me all kinds of information, where it's ranked by U.S. News, campus line, the monthly average temperatures in Austin. I have a map here that shows me whether it's a campus that is friendly to walking to locations. As I continue to scroll down, student body, 53% female, 47% male. I've got academics and programs that are available, and this information is available for all the colleges that are there in the tab. It's got cost and financial aid information, admissions, and application fee, the acceptance rate, and on, and lots of different information.
That looks like a lot that would overwhelm the 6th grader.
Well, they start at 6. They go all the way through.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, you're starting at 6. Okay. They're not picking a major in a college in 6th grade.
Well,
They could, but, okay.
yes. And the idea is, and the reason I picked the 6th grader was just so that you could see that everything that's available in School Links is available for all students from 6th grade on through. Obviously, there are things that aren't going to be used by 6th graders. For instance, there's a document, an area where you save documents, and that would be things like reference letters, those kinds of things. And obviously, a 6th grader is going to be saving documents as a 6th grader.
So no, at no time is going to offer any statistics for football like Texas beat A&M? Pardon me, everyone.
This is Robert. That's your one question?
What is it a per student cost, a flat fee? It is a cost per student. So overall, our overall cost is right at $110,000 for all students 6 through 12. So that's generally the model. And I'll just add balance ISD is just
end up replacing counselors?
I'm sorry?
Does this end up replacing counselors?
Replacing counselors? Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Counselors are going to work with the students through these processes. A lot of these areas really should spark questions and conversations with students and counselors about beyond high school.
Is the early college, part of the selection group in this module, or is it a goal that you write in?
No, early college in the college choices?
Mm-hmm.
No, it is not.
Because I would think,
Because early college is an early college high school, it's not a college. Am I misunderstanding your question?
because we have a lot of kids that have probably selected at a young age to go to our program for early college. So it'd be helpful to have that statistic, if how many kids are planning to select that career path or that educational path. So in the future, we can be better prepared to serve the group of kids that are coming up already.
But some of them have already chosen their college and university to which they might go.
Yeah, I mean, but like our current early college kids, we could have a statistics and numbers to support that it's going to grow or it's going to decrease in 3 years.
So I think part of the selection process for the early college, even if they were going to select it in schooling, would still require that they do the interviews, the parent interviews, and then I'm not exactly sure what that process is for selecting those students.
Well, I'll maybe go back to that. The idea of the reason it's not necessarily in there, what we're doing is creating a dialogue with 6th and 7th graders early on about college aspirations. So when we set that goal of a college aspiration early on, then early college is a real choice whenever they have a better understanding of what it takes, what that associate's degree is. So early college is not a guided piece, but it will add to the dialogue that helps them understand before they ever apply. And so you ask a question, you're going to replace a counselor, just the opposite. These are things that we were struggling to do as a counseling staff prior. So this platform gives us the ability to facilitate those conversations in an organized way, where prior to that, we were missing that conversation quite often. So starting that conversation with 6th, 7th graders, 8th graders will help with their early college conversation, and then facilitate all kids on the concept of what it takes after high school. You asked a question about where's the career piece. So you saw Mr. Moss hit that tab, but as you're going through aspirations, it fits with what you're planning solidly. That we know, some of these students are geared towards the military, so they're very specific paths that would help them select what it takes to be a good military candidate. So and all post-secondary, not just a 4-year college.
So in the future, as we're working on this system of great schools, and there's I'm just throwing this out there, but let's say we go to some technical high school, that's all STEM driven. Would this program be modified to include that selection as an aspiration in the future?
Absolutely. If we, in theory, were to create a small campus of a career focus, a CTE focus, or a STEM focus, or a fine art focus, we could definitely narrow our conversations with this platform to that very specific focus to those students.
Mr. Horner, in answer to Mr. Marquez's question, in the district, we're working on a unified enrollment program that similar in concept to this, where you are attempting to figure out what school is best for you. You answer a number of questions about what your preference is and what your academic preferences are and whether you like what extracurricular activities you like, so on and so forth. And then it, much like this, it then suggests schools that you can choose from, and it helps guide you to that path and helps prompt you to ask you questions that will come up with the right recommendations for each student and parent to consider, correct?
Yes, and so to your point, unified enrollment system that helps you gear your aptitudes and interests for a specific type of grade school that you want to attend. This helps us collect that data because we're able to track and monitor where students' aspirations are as they're looking into different areas. So by doing this, starting this with sixth graders and doing it cohesively all the way through, it gives us a better ability to identify students that may be more interested in applying for that. And also, you know, obviously it supports the parent on that end of understanding their students' aptitudes and interests in a much more sophisticated way than we've had before.
How is this information getting disseminated to parents? I mean, do they need specific logins? Or how is a parent gonna, you know, walk through that process with their student?
So we were actually in that process right at this moment. You know, considering we have gone completely online and we went in whole hog, our first step was to fully get kids involved, get them on the system. Right now, we are having campuses, and we put out some social media as well, having campuses communicate about the parent access. So we have a complete website. It's all on the website. They go to it. We're also sending that out in our call-outs and our emails so they can create logins. Again, our focus is really on 8th graders as our key area to build that 4-year build-out. So a junior is seeing very bits and pieces of it right now just because of how the depth and complexity of this system. So we are communicating that out to parents pretty much at all levels. Right now, they're seeing it as a approval of the PGP, the personal graduation plan. Some campuses are really focusing on next year's course requests. So you can see their course requests and then look at it as a parent.
Is there any information that's gathered by the provider from the software? Any data or any school district information they're going to gather that we're agreeing to by purchasing the software?
We have very detailed data use agreement that we've gone through that's submitted by attorneys. So there is some obviously on that platform data that they have. But all of that data is contained within us, and they've signed the data use agreements and committed to the contracts. So it's part of our normal use of sharing data. I want to point out just before I hate to hijack Mr. Ross's demonstration, but I wanted to show you just the last piece of this, just so you have
interested to see what the answers are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I encourage you, if you haven't already, to do that. Now, so, yes, I just wanted to show you, for example, my grader's sample plan, and later on, if you'd like, in person or in private, I'll show you your grade.
Excellent.
We're just in the interest of
All right.
time, I wanted to leave it up to any questions or added comments. You know, we didn't show you the comprehensive piece on the career side of it, but I can guarantee you this platform takes them through interest. Obviously, you know, part of our mission is to get them into post-secondary training of some sort, and this, I think, will help them see the need for it. The details of what it takes, what we will have when we have this fully built out for seniors, you know, being able to, you'll take a transcript, they can take their 4-year plan, and they say they want to go to Harvard, we can compare their transcript to all the other students that have gone to Harvard and what that transcript looks like, and help them set realistic expectations and goals. Of course, we do that further on, but to see if they're a Harvard candidate. So the details, we didn't get into it, but the complexity is, and it is going to really support students in increasing college ready graduates, career ready graduates.
Well, looks like a great resource. When were they first introduced to it at 6th grade?
So, this being our first year, 6th graders have done a great job of going through that piece, so they started that in January. So that 133,000 logins is 6 through, pretty much 6 to 11. 12th graders, we didn't really do a lot of experience, but our 8th graders are where we're really putting our efforts into comprehensive, but 6th graders, as they go, and from now on, as they build out to our curriculum that we go through, so this current 6th grade will be a full set of seeing the full experience.
And so I take it from the answers to other questions that there's an intentional plan in place to make sure that every student is oriented to the program, parents are informed, and they'll be reminded each school year during the points of the school year to give them information and the ability to access this and continue to utilize it.
Absolutely. We see this being, right now, almost every parent uses Skyward, or Skyward is a heavily invested parent use, especially in the grades, and, you know, watching their students' grades. We see this being as important, if not more important, that they log in and see that. So we see this login for schooling side by side with the Skyward login and use of that detail. So now, again, for first time we've ever done anything online where everything is completely logged in, so it's a learning process. But we do have a plan and, you know, roll out and detail on who does what and when in order to get it fully embedded in every grade level.
So it's a cloud-based?
Yes, sir. It is cloud-based.
Any other questions? All right, that's very informative. Thank you very much, Mr. Horner, Mr. Moss. Thank you all very much. All right, next district report 5B, board goals. The information's on page 98 of our meeting packet. Ms. Rivera, is this yours? Welcome. Questions? Well, it looks like it's a challenge, but I wish you the very best in reaching the goals that have been set, and look forward to the year-end report, hopefully with good news.
It is a challenge. We've said before that hope is not a strategy, so we are being very deliberate and intentional. Students, teachers, campus leadership to really hit those goals that were set early on and to meet our targets. But most importantly, hit those annual targets on passing and fail. Had we developed a goal that was passing reading or passing math, these numbers would look very differently. But we felt it was equally important for students to be prepared and ready for the next course or grade level. That and those little words in between are so critical, but we really feel and is the most appropriate, not the or. So we're still continuing to work very hard.
Sir, you, a little bit.
Worried about how low these numbers are.
There you go. And I know we've talked about it before, but can you give us the correlation? Because what we're looking at are district checkpoints with iStation and Imagine Math, but how did we correlate that to what an actual STAR test looks like?
These are actually from the vendor, the correlation. When we run masters, what we try to look at is the 90th percentile of achievement. If you actually looked at each STAR grade in reading and each STAR level grade in math, you actually don't even have to get 90% to be considered masters. So I do anticipate some are as low as 83, some are as high as 91. So we felt like a good predictor would be 90% would be a sure predictor. We do feel like that even kids at 85% in some grade levels will meet this master's mark. Another tool that we're using in iStation is really the kids that are scoring in Tier 1 in iStation, which is an equivalent to approaches. So those scale scores are kind of scaled to approaches, meets, and masters. And same for Imagine Math, basic, proficient, and advanced are approaches, meets, and masters in both of those programs.
Okay, thank you.
And then at the end of this year, quite honestly, we'll look at the site. We've changed the measures, not our goals, but we've changed the tools to measure these each year we've been in Lone Star governments. So we'll be anxious to see if these are actually true predictors, which is what the goal progress measures should be.
Mr. Riddick, so when we go through the second full year, and I'm just asking more of a global question, but as a specific to one item on here, but so is there and I've talked about this before, but as we talked about Lone Star governance and came up with the goals, at what point do we regroup? And that might be a question for maybe the gathering in May with, and I've always said that I would think that AJ would have to have some input again as to how we set those goals and how they come out, because I don't believe we want to go through a third year and not look at the totality of the measures that we're trying to measure. And, if it needs to be adjusted or whatever the case may be, but I'm just saying that for as we work through it, what that outcome needs to be to because when we started this, in Texas, there was no other plan like this. So, and as we're striving to move this district forward, I mean, at what point do you see that conversation that, like I said, there might be some guidance from AJ, I don't know, but to further understand as to where we need to go or where the measurement needs to be.
So during our May time, I think that's a good conversation to have. I think there's almost like a summit that we have with the team and our trustees, like we did that one summer when we went through all the goal progress measures and determining what was, really tight and what did we just kind of throw a dart at, and then really step back and think through, let's be more accurate and precise in how we set the measures. I believe the team feels that what we're going after are all the right things. Should economically disadvantaged kids meet performance on both reading and math, gatekeepers to getting to graduation? Should our 3 through 8 hit these master's level? Should we be assessing kids who hit the highest 90th percentile on both reading and they have to do it on math? And would that be a measure we look at? I think our team feels those are areas that we need to keep in regards to strengths that we want to look at our students. What we're assessing is fidelity of the tool. So we're working through the professional development on how well is this tool, and do our best models, meaning teachers, that's our best tool, do they feel like this is the tool that they use in order to hit these marks? So we have to quantify it somehow. And so it's that tool that we're quantifying, because you could easily give assessments and we could hit these marks probably with assessments that are made by campus or assessments made by district. We're trying to get a really good, authentic piece that's almost third-party related that gives us this information. And that's what we're really trying to work to determine. Is the tool a good tool based on the fidelity that teachers feel they have to devote time to? Because you have to give students time on task with the tool, and you don't get to provide your direct instruction or cooperative instruction, collaborative instruction that teachers are so good at providing. So that's the battle that we're working through, and we're getting better around navigating that piece for our teachers in professional development, understanding the tool, the viability of the tool, do our leaders understand the tool, and navigating it that way. So right now, it's still early on for us to tell, is this the tool or not the tool? But I think having those questions, yearly is one that our team is reviewing and assessing.
Well, and I just want to say that, it's not, as we look at this, I personally don't look at one person or a team, or I look at it as a district, as we're trying to move forward. And it's great work, but we do have to ask ourselves that question as to what we need to do and how we can better serve and for whatever needs are needed. So, and that's just basically the part about my question is what else do we need to do to just make it better? So.
Yes, sir. I will honestly think that we will have better data at the end of this year in regards to the actual tools that we're using to measure. Once we have actual STAR scores, then to go back and see how our end of year testing actually shook out on iStation and Imagine Math, and then start comparing. Were we way off because we set these scale scores at a different standard than we should have set to be running approaches, weeks, and masters? So I think we will get there. I think we will get there at the end of the year and at least know where iStation and Imagine Math kind of said we were, and then where our STAR scores actually show where we perform. So I do feel that at the end of the year we'll have better data to go back and at least make some of those decisions like we're talking about going into 1920.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Excuse me. District Report 5C, financial update. Ms. Moss, welcome.
two items that I would like the board to kind of, watch out for. So the 2.5% cap, how it relates to our district. Where our high growth and property values and all of the districts that are, in the same boat as us could see their tax rates lowered considerably. Districts with a high degree of mineral wealth and volatile tax base but have little flexibility to manage fluctuations in their property value. Prior year versus current year values. The prior year values help districts predict what they will owe in recapture payments. So currently we are working with our prior year values. House Bill, Senate Bill 4 is looking at working with current year values, which would make it difficult for us to predict our budgets. And we would have to prepare our budgets without the knowledge of what that number is. And also, one other thing about prior year and current year values is the district revenue estimates may be less or more inaccurate. We know that we have difficult time now estimating what those revenues are, and that would make it even more difficult if we had to use current year values versus prior year values. So we will continue to monitor these bills, monitor the legislation. We have about 76 days left to adopt the budget. About 42 days left in the legislative session, so it's kind of a difficult time for us being July 1 district. I would like to commend my staff for the work that they've done in my absence in keeping up with it. We'll have more information on when we do the budget workshop in April 23rd.
Mr. Ritter, when that is for a special session, I mean, that's the general consensus. As Dan thinks, right there.
I've not heard that we're headed to a special session. I've heard that the sides are pretty close, not as like it was in the previous previous session where there were dramatic differences of, billions and billions of dollars away. I don't believe that to be the case. I believe both sides do want to make something happen, and what things concede and what things blend are going to be the conversations that each committee will assign individuals to sit at the table and start that dialogue. There'll be 3 of us in Austin tomorrow, Dr. Kell, Elena Ladd, and myself. We'll be working the voting of a bill that we have, which is House Bill 4205, which is being put forward by Speaker Craddock, that has developed its very good legs on the work that we want to establish and do. And we'll be meeting with other legislatures around the consensus around that, as well as the Senate, so that we can ensure that there's a senator, which we do have, Seliger on our side, to help ensure that the Senate is able to develop the legs to move our bill that we have presented this legislative session.
So last week when I attended the Texas School Alliance, there were a couple of those who thought that there may be a special session. We are going to prepare the budget as if there may be one, so we'll have
And our fund balance is what will help us if that is the case, and we need to keep ourselves operating. So thus we have a strong fund balance in order to navigate that, depending on how long the special session could go if it did get to that point.
Any other questions for Ms. Moss? All right, very helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, President Davis, before Mr. Bailey comes up, we have a document we should have had in front of you guys on the consent item H, personnel appointments. I'm going to pass that out to everybody, and Mr. Bailey's will be able to talk about it.
We need a vote on this.
Okay.
Hold on, Mr. Bailey.
All right, Mr. Bailey, welcome.
Just want to bring a brief update to a couple of things. You did receive information in the packet regarding staff and current trends and presentation. We also want to
Well, yeah, welcome.
Ms. Nadelia is a graduate of Tarleton State University with a master's degree in educational administration. She has spent all of her 19 years in education dedicated to serving students in Title I schools, and 12 of those years in administration. Laura most recently served as the principal of the 6th grade through 12th grade campus in Midland, Texas, northeast of Houston. Ms. Nadelia High School, Goodrich High School earned 4 distinctions last year in the areas of ELA, math, science, and post-secondary readiness. She's married to Clint and has 2 daughters, and one is attending Texas A&M University, and the other will be attending Midland ISD in the fall. So we hope that you'll help us welcome Ms. Nadelia to Midland ISD.
All right, this is based on this addendum that we've just been handed regarding Ms. de Villiers, which we are excited to consider. We need to revisit our consent item 4H and make this into a voting item, which includes this addendum.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Trischetti. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. And welcome, Mr. Villiers. We welcome you to MISD. Thank you very much for coming tonight. All right. The innovation update is on page 118 of our meeting packet, and I understand you won't be presenting. We'll just rely upon the written information, correct? All right. Any questions about that? All right. Okay. That completes our report items for this evening. Now we turn to our discussion action items. 6A is our Lone Star Governance Board quarterly self-evaluation. The criteria is on page 121 of our board or meeting packet. And then I think we've reached consensus by allowing the majority rule on these scores.
There's actually a typo on mine. That was supposed to be .52. I cannot
Okay.
remember about the third.
All right. Well, that's good. We go from a majority to a super majority on that one. So, for purposes of the record, by my review, it looks like for our current quarter target totals for Vision 1, our consensus score is 15. Vision 2 is 15. Vision 3 is 10. Vision 4 is 5. Accountability 1 is 15. Accountability 2 is 0.5. Structure is 4. Advocacy 9. Unity is 10 for a total score of 83.5. Any questions or discussion about that? All right, then turning to next quarter target totals, there appears to be a consensus on Vision 1 with a score of 15, Vision 2, 15, Vision 3, 10, Vision 4, 5, Accountability 1, 15, Accountability 2, 5. Let me skip structure for now. Advocacy, the consensus is 9, and unity is 10. Going back to structure, we do have a plurality of 3 4s, and then the rest are split between 5, 12, and 15. I would suggest that 4 be our consensus score, but that's open to y'all's discussion. Let me turn to structure real quick.
How did I get 5 on there?
Yeah, 5's not even an option.
That's my point.
Structure. I believe that, let's see. The continual problem on this one is, it's a challenge, I should say, takes a lot of work, is we remain at 4 and cannot proceed to 12 for a value of 12 until all our local policies that currently are on the books that are neither required by law nor an appropriate exercise of the board's oversight authorities defined by our constraints is removed. We've done a number of policies have been reviewed, and the policies that fall in that category have been removed, but we still have more work to do. And
Well, and
that's
also, we got the 3-hour limit. We can't say that none of our school board meetings are less than 3 hours.
well, yeah, one of our questions for our May summit meeting with Deputy Commissioner Grable is ask him if that always includes our executive session and grievance hearings, whether that's appropriately in that time total or not. But in any event, with that explanation, can we agree that 4 should be our vote total?
Yes.
Because it's not likely that in the next quarter that we will able to review every single remaining policy and remove those that shouldn't be in there.
I don't think we're even going to get to 5.
All right, so with that, then returning back to structure, then the consensus would be 4 and the total would be 88, given what I said earlier on the other categories.
I move that we submit those as consensusized or whatever.
Right, as our quarterly self-evaluation, both currently and next quarter targets.
Right.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy,
Second.
second by Mr. Bishop.
Mr. Davis, before we vote, I just want to call attention to on unity under the current quarter. To get a 10, we had to have all board members receive their certificate to attend for 2 days, and that's happening in May. Mr. Chischetti has not done that yet, and that's why I voted 9 as opposed to 10.
Okay, good point.
Yeah,
Let me
but that'd
see.
be for the second quarter, wouldn't it?
That, he was here for the first quarter. This is January through.
But he's not on
No,
the,
but this is, we're going for the,
he's not on the actual,
this is the, are you talking about the projected, or are you talking about the actual?
The actual.
Actual, okay. Yeah.
Okay, that is correct.
but doesn't it say,
I think that's right.
Yeah, the point Mr. Murray's making, the board received a certificate of completion. All trustees and the superintendent attended the entirety of both days together from TA for the Lone Star Governance Workshop. That was true for this past, before the prior election, but with Mr. Trischetti's election, we have not done it with him, and so we don't qualify for a 10 any longer. We drop down to a 9 until we complete that in May.
Sorry, guys.
So, okay.
I'm the anchor around the neck.
So that changes our score from 83.5 currently to 82.5 because Unity score goes from 10 to a 9.
I move we amend it.
Friendly amendment's been accepted by Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Any other comments or discussion? All right, Mr. Murray, thank you for that. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, it's 6:58 p.m., and we will go into closed session in accordance with Government Code Sections 55.1.071 through 074, 551.076, 551.0821 through .084. Thank you all very much for coming. It's 8:24 p.m. and we are emerging from closed session to consider agenda item 8A, discussion and possible approval of employee contract renewal extensions, term, probationary, non-certified, and authorize the superintendent to issue contracts. Information about these items begins on page 132 of our meeting packet. This is an action item.
move we approve the employee contract renewals set forth.
Second.
Okay, and specifically, I don't know if we need to do this for the record, we're gonna, I failed to mention it. 1, probation and dual contracts. 2, term and dual contracts. And 3, administrator non-certified term contracts. Y'all accept that as a friendly amendment?
That's what I meant.
Okay. And you seconded, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and you accept that friendly amendment too?
Yeah, that's
All right. Okay, with that friendly amendment, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. 8B, teacher contract abandonment. 1, good cause did not exist for resignation. And 2, complaint and request for sanction to TEA regarding K. Clark.
I move.
Motion by Mr. Marquez.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Our last agenda item, 8C, teacher contract abandonment. 1, good cause did not exist for resignation. And 2, complaint and request for sanction to TEA regarding B. Fawcett.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. It is now 8:26 p.m. We are adjourned. Thank you.